On today's Saturday news, Darby Allin breaks his foot and is not going to Mount Everest this year.
We've got 3 new matches for Wrestlemania.
A WWE star and more are set to compete at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport X.
And AEW talents are unhappy about Mercedes' money. Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers and joined by Garrett to talk all things wrestling news. But what's up first?
Well, I'll tell you what's up. Darby Allin's foot is probably up in a way it should not be because it is broken. Darby Allin, of all the things this man does to his body, he has now broken his foot from seemingly doing a senton in the middle of a match with Jay White, obviously on Dynamite this week. It was the big business thing that all went down. And this was I don't know if it was billed or it was very much presented as his last match in AEW before he goes off to climb the biggest mountain on the planet. And
yeah.
It was quite emotional at times because you're a bit like, is this the last time you're ever going to see Darby Allin wrestle? This is really scary. And he did a few crazy things in the match. He did that coffin drop like onto the apron and then nearly got counted out and all that stuff. Typical Darby stuff, really. But he was doing that with a broken foot because he's a madman. And he has now like come out and said it to TMZ. Said it is very much broken. And Everest is not going to happen this year now. But he's still seeming like he wants to do it next year, even though the world is telling you, Darby, do not climb the mountain. Stay at home or stay in a wrestling ring where it's a lot safer. Also, yeah, it's just so surreal because at the end of that match, there was the injury angle, obviously, where they targeted his foot. And we were having a bit of a chat beforehand, and it seems that they very much targeted the foot that was really broken in real life because wrestlers are crazy. And that's its own insane thing. But just a little tidbit at the end. It's not all bad news when it comes to his broken foot because apparently, Darby told TMZ that he's now going to get Tony Hawk to do a trick off of his cast for charity. So, every cloud.
Obviously. I mean, why not? Yeah, Darby Allin's nuts at the best of times. But yeah, I mean, it was, like, as far as sentons go, it was still a senton from the top rope, like, flipping to the outside. So it's still
light work.
Still up there in terms of danger.
For Darby Allin, that is light work. You know it.
But that is light work. But it is mental that happened less than 2 minutes into the match, and then he just carried on for another 10 minutes, and then got Pillmanized on the same bloody foot. He's an insane person. Yeah. But yeah, unfortunate for Darby Allin, obviously, and always get well soon. Mm-hmm. But it's sad that obviously with an Everest thing, like an insane amount of planning and preparation that goes into these things, and you only get obviously a limited window to be able to do it, and that window will have passed, so it'll have to be next year. And yeah, so he seems like a determined man, and this Everest thing is definitely on his to-do list, so I assume he will be right back there next year to take it on again.
Don't do it, Darby. Just don't do it.
Mental. But get well soon, Darby Allin. But moving over to WWE, and 3 new matches got announced last night on SmackDown for WrestleMania, the showcase of the immortals, the show of shows, the grandest stage of them all, etc., etc.
That one.
First up, I mean, we had an amazing rock concert on SmackDown last night, which was absolutely fantastic, and you should go watch that. But we also got a bunch of other things, because Logan Paul got told that he will be defending his US Championship against both Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a triple threat match. And obviously, Logan beat Kevin Owens technically, but it was by DQ at the Royal Rumble for that championship. And then at the Elimination Chamber, Randy Orton pinned both Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, so it kind of makes sense to get all 3 of them in together. So that will be one of the matches. Jimmy also accepted Jay's challenge for a match at WrestleMania last night as well, so we are definitely 100% getting that Jimmy versus Jay. And LA Knight obviously has been challenging AJ Styles after what happened at the Elimination Chamber when AJ Styles flew halfway across the world just to mug off LA Knight, obviously, like you do.
Flew just across the road just to get a bit of a
just across the world. But last night, Styles accepted LA Knight's challenge, but he only did it during a sneak attack where he attacked him and laid him out with a steel chair. So the WrestleMania card right now shaping up to be pretty good. Let's face it. It's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody and Seth on night 1. Obviously, with all the big stipulations rolling into night 2, that is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. We're also getting Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. We're getting Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Championship. We're getting Io Sky versus Bayley for the other one. We're getting the Gunther versus Sami Zayn at the minute, with the Intercontinental title match, which is going to be amazing as well. We're getting the tag team champions in some absolutely nuts 6-way. I mean, what can go wrong? 12 people and a bunch of ladders in a same match. Obviously, that's going to be insane. We're also getting Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton in the triple threat match. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso, the blood feud for the Blood Brothers. And LA Knight versus AJ Styles. And all of this is shaping up to be one hell of a WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I quite like the variety of the card as well. Like, you've got a few grudge matches in there. You've got a bit of... It's going to be quite silly, I feel, the Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton stuff. It's going to be a lot of crowd pop-in, just weird KSI Prime nonsense, which is fine. I don't mind that. And then you've got the ladder chaos and the real heavyweight top of the card clashes as well. This is feeling like it does, and I know it's a bit of hyperbole. They always go, oh, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. It actually does feel like it could be. I'm not looking at any match on that card right now going, oh, I'm not really, that's a bit of filler, can't really bother. But every single match I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get something from all of it. So very excited about WrestleMania weekend in general. And one of the big things that's going to be going down across the week, and like the whole Philadelphia week that you have when there's loads of other wrestling events just outside of WWE as well. Hello, Salty, I've just spotted you there. Sorry, I was looking at about 10 different cameras. Hello there. And Salty will be at Bloodsport. No, so what's going to happen is we're going to
Salty versus Shayna Baszler.
Kick some ass. Well, there you go.
Hey, my money's on Salty, honestly.
You spoiled it. Shayna Baszler is going to be it's my story, Phil, okay? My story. She's going to be a Bloodsport 10X, whatever you want to call it. She's going to be there, and we don't really know who she's going to... Well, we do now actually know she's going to be competing against Salty. It's going to be great. And that's going to be at April 4th, on April 4th, sorry. And yeah, she's... obviously a former MMA fighter. She's a friend and a long-time student of Josh Barnett as well, so it does make a lot of sense that if WWE were going to throw people into this GCW arena, that she'd be one of the people to do it, which is mad in itself that we are getting this in 2024. It seemed like something that probably never happened. And now, also on top of this, Fightful Select were reporting that she won't be the only person from WWE that's going to be like in this event. There's going to be multiple WWE talents that are scheduled to compete, and more details on who is going to be in this Bloodsport 10 event are going to emerge very soon. So it's going to be really interesting. My money, I'd personally, just looking at the way it's shaping up, and you get a lot of former fighters really going into the Bloodsport arena, because at Bloodsport you can only win by submission and knockout, so it's like real sports feel, that kind of stuff. I'd imagine someone like Bobby Lashley, throw Bobby Lashley in there. I think I might have seen comments maybe of Josh Barnett being like, yeah, bring him in at one point. So I think that's something that they'd definitely be excited about. Can you imagine having Bobby Lashley in that environment? It'd be insane. Him against Jon Moxley. No, they wouldn't do it. They never do it. But it's, I'm very intrigued by this. This is what I love with WrestleMania week. Do this kind of crazy stuff, because that's great. All you're going to do there, WWE, you're going to get a few more eyes coming towards WrestleMania. It's helping everyone out really. So I like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see what they do with this, because it's just so unprecedented and strange. But yeah, whatever happens in this, absolutely fascinated to see who they take from WWE to put in this. I think Shayna Baszler is an obvious choice for it, blatantly. And they're not doing a huge amount with her. She might be in some sort of women's... I don't know if they're going to do some women's tag showcase type match thing. That they might end up being in. I don't know what else they end up doing at WrestleMania itself, but at least you'll have this a lot of fun at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. So yeah, excited to see what the rest of the announcements come and what these matches are actually going to be, because it's just strange. It's just not like WWE at all, but more of this. I like it.
Yes.
But moving over back to AEW, Mercedes Moné obviously debuted on Big Business, but before she debuted on Big Business, she was on the Kick Rocks podcast, talking just about her career, where she's been, where she's going, etc., etc. But on that podcast, she said that one day she will probably be back in WWE. Now, Dave Meltzer has come out on the Wrestling Observer newsletter saying that those comments may have slightly rubbed people in AEW the wrong way and upset some talents over there, let's say. So Meltzer were basically saying that it was the timing of the comments that wasn't particularly wise. Obviously, there's a lot of ex-WWE wrestlers that have gone to AEW, but the perception is that some of them are there to sort of really help and elevate AEW and everyone else on the roster and like really help it out as a company, and others are there just to kind of get a paycheck before going back to WWE at some point. Now, he ends his little thing by saying, in time this will play out as it does, but the people who were skeptical are now more skeptical. In the end, if she's a long-term valuable asset to the company, nobody will remember this statement, and if not, everybody will remember this statement. Now, I think it's slightly unfair to take that one comment out of context and not sort of include the rest of what she was talking about on that podcast as well, because she was very much stating on that her mission now in life is to elevate women's wrestling across the board, like around the world in every promotion that she can possibly go to elevate women's wrestling to the point where it is like on par with the men's, parity across all the divisions, and yeah, just makes everybody aware of what the amazing things that the talent in women's wrestling can do and can pull off. And it very much feels like that's what she's at AEW for. She's there for the new matchups, the exciting things, getting to wrestle people that she hasn't wrestled before, but also, yeah, to elevate the entire card at the same time. And I definitely don't think she's there just to collect a paycheck before going off to WWE. But at the same time, if your thoughts on going back to WWE at some point, like, that's also kind of mad. Why would you close off one huge alleyway in terms of your career? There's only like really two places where you can make this much money and this sort of a scale. Why would you close yourself off to one of those places, especially when obviously with everything that happened with Miss Sasha Banks over there, like there's obviously going to be some unfinished business, let's say, about her career over there. So it kind of, like, yeah, the timing probably wasn't the best in terms of, like, it was like literally a few days before you go and start your first show for this new company, but you can't like blame her for not closing off that period of her life. And yeah, the way she went on to talk, she's definitely there to help. This isn't just a big money grab thing before she moves on.
No, definitely not. And I think you're right there. I think a lot of it was being incredibly respectful of where she's come from, what WWE did for her, like in a career, like give her this platform where she was able to go off and do what she's been doing now. She has been killing it. There is a thing, maybe, there is such a thing as maybe being just perhaps a little bit too honest, and she probably was. She was just probably wearing a heart on her sleeve and being like, you know what, yeah, one day I probably will, but right now I'm doing something else. And it's just people will latch on to those two words and be like, what, she's planning, she's going. And it's like, oh, just people say things sometimes because you could see there were a lot of emotions going on as well in that interview. It was a great interview, and she just really let her guard down, just and spoke from the heart. And sometimes you don't just fully think through what people are gonna like take from those words. Do you know what I mean? We understood the sentiment when you're watching it in the context. You're like, yeah, I get it. That's not her going, well, I'm just here for a little time, then I'm gonna go over to WWE. No, that's not what she was doing. So for me, yeah, a lot of that can just be taken with a pinch of salt. She probably will end up there one day. It's inevitable. I think everyone probably in AEW know that at one point. Like you live a long life. At some point, she probably will walk back through those doors, but for now she is very much focused on all things AEW, and I think everybody on planet Earth who loves them some money is intrigued to see what comes next.
Hell yeah. But that is it. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to get out of this insanely bright sunlight, but you can follow us over on Twitter. You can follow me at Phil My Chambers, and you can follow Gareth
at GMorgan04.
And this beautiful video down here in the corner somewhere, wherever it is. Click on it.
Time in this video. Yeah, this video is pretty beautiful as well.
This other one. Click on this and continue doing YouTube things. But most importantly, have yourselves a bloody good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.